Hello. So it is the morning and my kids are on summer vacation. So they've been asking me to make these sheet pan pancakes like pretty much every morning. We made them for my father-in-law's birthday a few days ago, and since then they've just been like, "Mom, you have to make these pancakes." And they last like a day because they just gobble them up all day. So today we're going to be making those. They're super easy to make. If you have your own pancake recipe, like for the mix, you can do that. I have a ginormous bag of buttermilk pancake mix that we got from Costco. So basically all I do is I mix some up in a 2-cup measuring cup. This will be like the plain color, and they want green today. So I'll do a little 1-cup mix of green. You basically put them all in a sheet pan, kind of swirl it. I add some sprinkles, and they want chocolate chips, so add a little bit of chocolate chips to it, swirl them all in there, bake it in an oven at 375 for about 15 to 20 minutes. 15 minutes seems to be okay for us, and then they're done. I let them cool slightly before I cut them, or you can use some cookie cutters to make some fun shapes, whatever you want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and do this for them. They're downstairs in the basement. They're listening to, our basement's finished, so they go down there and they play. It's their playroom. They are listening to the K-pop Demon Hunters soundtrack. We went to the beach with some friends last weekend, and we were just so exhausted when we got back. So Colin was like, "Mom, there's this new movie out, K-pop Demon Hunters on Netflix. Can we watch it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So we watched it, and honestly, it was really good, and the soundtrack was so good. So they've been listening to that nonstop, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not mad about it. The songs are so catchy. So they're down there doing that while I am making these pancakes. So I'm gonna go ahead and put some mix in here, mix it up, and I will show you kind of how I pour it and mix it and all that stuff. All right, so these are mixed up. This is the one that I did that's plain, and I'm gonna go ahead and put some green food coloring in this. This one's a little thicker. See, kind of reminds me of my sourdough starter, to be quite honest. I actually look for something of that consistency sometimes, but so let's see how green we're gonna get this today. We made blue for my father-in-law's birthday because that's his favorite color. And I think I put too much blue food coloring in the mix, and it was really blue. And then we've made red. Colin really, that's his favorite color. So we made red the other day. Green is Gianna's favorite color, so we're doing that today. Usually around Christmas time, instead of doing an advent calendar with candy every day, we do an advent calendar with things to do. And one of the activities in one of the days is to make Grinch pancakes. So I usually do green pancakes, and I put some red M&Ms in them, and then we watch the Grinch that morning while we eat our Grinch pancakes. So this kind of reminds me of that. Okay, looks like that's one good thing about the clear measuring cups. You can kind of see what's going on in there. Maybe I'll make them a little bit more green than that. I know this is pretty green. I've actually been trying to get into using more natural food coloring. So I bought some beetroot powder. There's, I think they call it pitaya powder. It's like pink dragon fruit. And I have like blue spirulina, which I've used that before. So I've been trying to get away from using like these little food dyes and using more of those. But the kids, they wanted, this is what they wanted today. So this is what they're gonna get. I don't really know what natural green food coloring is. If you know, let me know. Okay, so this is as green as we are going to get. And you see it thinned out a little bit as I was mixing it. Okay, so now all I did was I lined my sheet pan with parchment paper for easy cleanup. You don't have to do this. You can pour it directly on your pan if you'd like. Just make sure that you butter it. I have parchment paper that I hit with a little bit of cooking spray. Now I'm gonna go ahead and dump all of the plain batter on first. It's not a big deal if you get some of the color on it, because guess what? We're gonna swirl it together anyways. So you're just gonna spread this on here. Okay. And it doesn't have to be super precise because, like I said, we're going to be swirling this anyways. And I just have like a little sheet pan that I'm using. You can, if you wanted to prepare this for like a bigger crowd, say you're doing like a brunch or something, you can obviously make it in a bigger sheet pan. I think you just want to have one that has kind of like a lip to it, like a higher edge. I think that might be helpful because it does rise and get a little fluffy. All right. So now I've got my plain mix in there, and I'm just going to go ahead and swirl this mix over it. And I'll show you what that looks like afterwards. I had seen this, I was inspired by this, by an Instagram post that I had saw. And the person that was doing it, they did like a, oh, it almost looked like a unicorn kind of theme. They had fancy chocolate chips that had like the fancy sprinkles in it. So thought that was really cool. But you know, I'm like, we're just going to use what we have. I'm not going to go out and buy anything crazy for this unless I was hosting something and I really needed it to look super special. But this is just for us. Okay. So I'm going to show you what it looks like here. So this is what it looks like right now. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to swirl this around. Just make some little swirls to mix the colors together. I did a lot of green actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Okay. So now we've got some nice swirly batter. And I'm going to hit it with some sprinkles. Almost done with these, so we're just going to use these ones up. And we'll use these more vibrant sprinkles as well. I feel like sprinkles just make everything more fun. Okay, and then we're going to put some chocolate chips in there. I have like every kind of chocolate chip because the kids like different chocolate chips with different things. Like G likes to have the mini chocolate chips like these for her yogurts in the morning. She usually does plain yogurt with some honey and chocolate chips in it. Like she does Greek yogurt. And for when we make our granola bites, we like to have the dark chocolate chips. So we do that for that. Colin likes white chocolate chips here and there. And then oh, and then they do like milk chocolate chips for certain things. And I like chocolate chunks when I make my chocolate chip cookies. So we've got the whole gamut of chocolate chips. But I'm going to show you what this looks like before I pop it into the oven. So this is what we've got. And I am going to go ahead and pop this into the oven at 375 for about 15 to 20 minutes. Like I said, I think mine usually looks fine around 15 minutes. If I think it looks a little bit like gooey, then I'll leave it in for the extra 5, but I'll show you what it looks like when it comes out. All right, so these just came out of the oven. It's been about 15 minutes and they're done. So you can tell that they're kind of done because the edges have started to get kind of like round. And if you go and kind of poke the middle here, it's pretty firm. So I'm gonna let these cool a little bit before I cut them, and then I will call the kids up and they are going to have breakfast.